For fleeing after my husband stranded me to be his family's maid? Can you repeat that? I dropped the scrubbing sponge in the sink. Soapy water splashed onto the countertop. My fingers were trembling, but my voice sounded calm, too calm. Marcus looked up from the table. His fork was suspended in midair, holding a piece of the beef stew I had simmered for 40 minutes. He looked as if he had not understood a simple word. I said, he repeated, each syllable like a polished stone. We're spending Christmas in Atlanta. My mother wants the whole family there on Christmas Eve. Including you. Including me, I repeated, turning to face him. So I'm an add-on, an object to be included. Brooke, don't start, he sighed. It was that here we go again sigh. I had heard it for 6 years. You know that's not what I mean. But Christmas is for family and my mother. My mother wants me to come to San Diego too, I interrupted. She hasn't seen me in 3 months, Marcus. 3 months. The last time you went with me to visit her was for Easter last year. He put down his fork. The metal hit the plate with a sharp sound. Our apartment in Chicago's Lincoln Park neighborhood suddenly felt small and silent. The cold December wind rattled the window. That's different, he said. How is it different? My mother is alone, Brooke. Your parents have each other. And besides, he paused. It was a dangerous pause. I knew what was coming next. And besides, tradition dictates that the wife spends Christmas with the husband's family. You know that. I felt the blood rush to my cheeks. It was not from shame but from rage. A rage that burned slow and deep. Tradition, I said. Whose tradition? Yours, Marcus. This is 2026, not 1926. And when we got married, we agreed to alternate holidays. Last year we were in Atlanta. The year before that, there was no gathering because of the pandemic, but the year before that was also in Atlanta. This year is San Diego's turn. We agreed. He stood up. His shadow was long in the light and fell over me. He was 8 inches taller than me. I used to find it comforting, now it just felt oppressive. Things have changed, he said, lowering his voice. He was using that tone that was meant to be reasonable. My sister is back from Los Angeles. She's bringing her fiancé. It is the first time we will all be together. My mother does not want anyone missing. And my family does not matter? That is not what I said. He sighed again, moving a little closer. Look, we can go to San Diego for New Year's or after the holidays, but Christmas Eve has to be in Atlanta. My mother has been planning everything for a month. She has invited the whole family. If you do not go, it will look very bad. For me too. I looked into his eyes, those dark brown eyes I once loved. I searched for a bit of understanding, a hint of compromise, even a simple, you are right. This is a little unfair. But I only saw firmness, an unshakable firmness like the old brick homes of Atlanta. What if I say no? I asked quietly. He froze, as if I had said something blasphemous. What? What if I say I want to spend Christmas with my parents this year? Just this year. We can go to Atlanta 2 days after Christmas and stay until after New Year's. But I want to spend Christmas Eve in San Diego. He shook his head, slow and firm. No, why not? Why not, Brooke? His voice suddenly rose in volume, echoing in the kitchen. Because I am your husband and I say we are going to Atlanta. Because it is my mother's wish. Because it is the right thing to do. Do you want more reasons? I leaned against the kitchen cabinet. I gripped the edge of the granite countertop tightly. The cold seeped through my skin. The right thing to do, I repeated, and then I laughed. A laugh without warmth. Right for you, right for your mother. What about me, Marcus? What about what I want? You are part of this family, he said, as if that explained everything. And in this family we respect traditions. We respect our elders. We spend Christmas in Atlanta. Period. Period, I repeated, nodding. Okay. I get it. He thought I was giving in. I saw his shoulders relax, his expression soften. He even managed a small victorious smile. That smile that said, I knew you would see reason. That is my sensible wife, he said, returning to the table. The beef stew is excellent, honey. Really? I watched him pick up his fork again, cut a piece of meat, and bring it to his mouth. He chewed, nodding in satisfaction. He did not notice me watching him that something inside me was breaking forever. A sensible wife. Unpaid help. That is what he really meant. An obedient helper, a submissive helper. The perfect helper to perform for his mother Gloria. The helper who prepared Christmas Eve dinner for 20 people. The helper who washed the mountain of dishes. The helper who listened to relatives comment. So when is the baby coming? The memory of last Christmas flooded me. I had been on my feet for 6 hours in Gloria's kitchen, while Marcus, his father, his uncles, and his cousins were in the living room. They watched the football game on TV, drank beer, and laughed. Gloria would come in from time to supervise my progress, adjusting the plates I had already arranged, turning up the heat on the meat, hinting that my chocolate chip cookies were not sweet enough. At 2 in the morning, when I washed and dried the last dish, my hands were red and wrinkled from the hot water. My back ached. Marcus was already snoring drunk in bed. I lay down in the darkness. I could hear Christmas carols from the streets of Atlanta's historic district in the distance. Tears fell silently. I swore it then. Never again. Marcus, I said. He did not look up. He was focused on his food. I am going to San Diego for Christmas. He stopped chewing. He looked up slowly. This time his expression was not one of bewilderment, but of cold displeasure. I thought we already talked about this. You announced a decision, I corrected him. I did not give my consent. Marcus, I am going to San Diego, I repeated. Each word was clear and crisp. You can come with me, or you can go to Atlanta. You choose. He stood up. The chair screeched against the floor. He walked toward me. His steps were heavy. Are you threatening me? I am informing you of my decision. We are a marriage, he shouted. Married couples make decisions together. You cannot just decide on your own. Just like you cannot decide on your own that we are going to Atlanta. That is different. Why? Because you are a man? Because you are the husband? Because it is your family's tradition. I held his gaze. I was not backing down anymore, Marcus. I am not an extension of your mother. I am not an ornament for your family. I am Brooke. I have my own family, my own parents, my own life. Your life is with me. He took hold of my arm firmly. When we got married, you swore to be my wife, to be part of this family. I swore to be your wife, not your unpaid help. I pulled my arm away and took a step back. How did your mother treat me last year? Did you see it? Did you defend me even once? Did you tell her that I am also the lady of this house, that I am not her unpaid household helper? He froze. A hint of guilt crossed his face, but it was quickly replaced by defensiveness. My mother is older. She has her ways. Her ways are wrong. And you let her treat me like that. That is a betrayal of our marriage. Those words hung in the air. I saw a range of emotions pass over his face. Anger, hurt, confusion, and finally the usual stubbornness. If you do not go to Atlanta, he said slowly in a low, dangerous voice, there will be serious consequences. My mother will never forgive you. The relatives will talk. Our marriage will suffer. If I go to Atlanta, I replied calmly, I will not forgive myself. And our marriage is already suffering, Marcus. You just refused to see it. We stared at each other like two strangers facing off in a cramped kitchen. Outside, the lights of Chicago twinkled in the winter night. In the distance, the hum of traffic and some laughter. Somewhere someone was celebrating, gathering, loving. Here our marriage was shattering before my eyes. I am going to pack my bag, I finally said, and turned to leave the kitchen. Brooke, he shouted after me, but I did not turn back. I went into the bedroom, closed the door, and slid down it until I was sitting on the floor. My hands were shaking, but inside me there was a strange calm. The calm that comes after speaking the truth, even when it hurts. Minutes later, I heard him leave the apartment. The door slammed shut. I got up. I went to the dresser, opened the bottom drawer. Under the sweaters was an old jewelry box. I opened it. There was no jewelry inside, only my passport, my savings card, and some cash that my mother had given me. For whatever might come up, she had told me in secret last year when she gave me the money. I picked up my phone, opened the browser, and typed in the airline's website. Chicago to San Diego. A morning flight on December 24th. There were seats left. The price was triple the usual rate, but I did not care. I selected pay. I entered my card details. I confirmed. Booking confirmed. Departure. December 24th, 9:20 a.m. Arrival. 10:15 a.m. In San Diego. I stared at the screen for a long time, then turned off the phone and put it in my jeans pocket. I walked to the window and looked down at the street. Marcus was leaving the building. He was heading to the bar on the corner. His shoulders were tense. His walk was angry. I should have felt sad, lost, hurt by the breakdown of my marriage. But I only felt a liberating relief, like being able to breathe after holding my breath for a long time. Then I took out my phone and dialed a familiar number. It rang 3 times. On the other end, a warm, familiar voice full of love. Honey. It was my mother, Patricia. Is everything all right? It is so late. Mom, I said, my voice sounding unexpectedly firm. I am coming home for Christmas. Just me. Is that okay? There was a brief silence on the other end of the line. Then my mother's voice came through, clear and steady, like the light from the San Diego coast cutting through the Chicago winter night. Always, sweetheart. Always. I hung up. I pressed the phone against my chest and closed my eyes. The war had begun, and this time I would not retreat. I spent the night on the sofa. I could not sleep in the bed I shared with him. The silence of the apartment was heavy, broken only by the hum of the street. I lay awake staring at the ceiling thinking. At 6 a.m. I heard the door. Marcus came in. He smelled of tobacco and alcohol. Beer. He probably walked past the living room without a glance. He went straight to the bedroom. The door closed. He did not say a word. I got up. I went to the kitchen. I made coffee, just 1 cup. As I poured the water, I started to plan. I needed a suitcase, clothes, shoes, documents. The flight was in 4 days. I had time. I finished my coffee, washed the cup, then went to the bedroom. Marcus was asleep on the bed, still dressed, snoring softly. I opened the closet carefully, took out a medium-sized suitcase and put it on the floor. I started picking out clothes. What are you doing? Marcus's voice was hoarse, sleepy. I turned around. He was sitting up in bed, staring at me. I am packing, I said, simple and direct. He rubbed his eyes, got up and walked toward me, positioning himself between me and the open suitcase. You are not going anywhere. Yes, I am. Brooke, this is ridiculous. Stop acting like a child. I am not acting like a child. I am acting like an adult who makes her own decisions. He tried to close the suitcase. I put my hand on the lid. We looked at each other. His breath smelled like stale beer. Why are you doing this? He asked. His voice sounded tired now. Why do you want to ruin our Christmas? I am not ruining anything. I just want to see my parents. And I want my family to be together. Your family is always your family, Marcus. Mine does not count. Of course it counts, but this is not the way to do things. You cannot just up and leave. I am not leaving just because. I am leaving because I am fed up. Fed up with always giving in. Fed up with your mother treating me like unpaid help. Fed up with you doing nothing to stop it. He looked away. For a second I saw doubt in his eyes, but then he shook his head. My mother is just like that. She does not mean any harm. Well, she should change. And you should tell her so. I cannot talk to my mother like that. And there is the problem. I slammed the suitcase shut and lifted it onto the bed. You cannot or you will not? She is older, Brooke. She has her ways. And I have my limits and I have reached them. I opened a drawer, took out underwear and socks, and started arranging them neatly in the suitcase. Marcus watched my movements. He looked like a confused animal. What if I talk to her? He said suddenly. What if I ask her to make this year different? It is too late, Marcus. You promised me the same thing last year, and nothing changed. This time will be different. No, I put a sweater in the suitcase. It will not be. Because the problem is not just your mother. Problem is you. You let it happen. You do not defend me. You ask me to put up with it, to smile, to be the sensible wife. Because you are. You have always been the sensible, reasonable one. Well, not anymore. I zipped the suitcase. The sound was loud in the silence. I do not want to be the sensible one anymore. I want to be happy. And with you at Christmas I am not. He was quiet. He sat on the edge of the bed, his head in his hands. He looked defeated. For a moment I felt sorry for him, but then I remembered his mother's kitchen, the dishes, the glares, their laughter from the living room. The pity vanished. What do I tell them? He murmured. What do I tell my mother? The truth. That your wife wants to spend Christmas with her family. She will be furious. That is your problem. He looked up. His eyes were red. You do not care about me or our marriage anymore? The question hurt me deeply. I took a deep breath. I care about you, Marcus. But this is not a marriage. This is a surrender. And I am done surrendering. I cannot do it anymore. We can go to therapy. Whatever you want. Just do not leave now. Not like this. I shook my head. I have made my decision. The plane leaves on the morning of the 24th. I will be in San Diego at 10:15. My parents are picking me up at the airport. You already have a ticket? His voice sounded surprised, then hurt. You bought it behind my back. Yes. Last night after our conversation. Period. He jumped up. His expression changed. The defeat vanished, replaced by anger, a cold, controlled anger. So you lied to me. Last night when you said you understood, you had already bought the ticket. I did not lie. I said I understood your point of view, not that I shared it. It is the same thing. No, it is not. I grabbed the suitcase, lowered it from the bed. And now, if you will excuse me, I have to get on with it. I have things to do before I leave. Leave. He laughed. A dry, bitter sound. Where are you going to go? A hotel. To the guest room. Until the 24th. No. I will not let you sleep in another room. This is our house. Our bed. It is not my bed anymore, Marcus. Not after last night. I tried to walk past him. He blocked the door with his body. Please, I said, my voice trembling slightly. Do not make this harder. You are the one making it hard. You are destroying everything. I have not destroyed anything. You and your family did. With your demands, your traditions, your lack of respect. I shouted. I had not planned it, it just came out. Years of frustration, of forced smiles, of complicit silences. It all came out in that shout. Marcus took a step back, surprised. I had never shouted at him like that. I had always been the quiet one, the peaceful one, the one who gave in. Brooke, he said, but he did not finish the sentence. I grabbed the suitcase, pushed past him and left the bedroom. I went to the guest room. It was small with just a single bed and a closet, but it was mine for now. I left the suitcase on the floor, closed the door. I did not lock it, but I wished I had a key. I sat on the bed and took a deep breath. My hands were shaking, my heart was pounding, but I did not cry. Not yet. My phone rang. It was my mother. I answered. Honey, is everything all right? I was worried after last night. Yes, Mom, everything is fine. I have packed my bag. I will be there on the 24th. There was a short silence. And Marcus? Is he staying in Chicago or going to Atlanta? I do not know. Have you talked? Yes. It was useless. My mother sighed on the other end. I am sorry, sweetie. You know your father and I support you in whatever you decide. I know, Mom. Thanks. Do you need anything? Money, anything? No, I am fine. I just need to get there. Well, you will. And we will be waiting for you here, with your room ready and your favorite fudge. I smiled for the first time in days. Thanks. Take care, honey. Be strong. I will be. I hung up. I lay down on the bed, staring at the ceiling. I listened to the sounds of the apartment. Marcus moving in the bedroom. The water from the shower. Then silence. After a while I left the room. Marcus was in the kitchen, dressed for work. He was drinking coffee, standing. He looked at me. I looked at him. We said nothing. I grabbed my coat, my purse, my keys. Where are you going? He asked. His voice was neutral. To work. Like every other day. You are going to the office? Just like that? As if nothing happened. Yes. Life goes on, Marcus. I left, closing the door gently behind me. I went down the stairs out onto the street. The cold Chicago air hit my face. I took a deep breath, went to the L train stop, got on, sat down and looked out the window. The city passed by. People shopping, Christmas lights. Everything seemed normal, but my life had shattered. At the office, I immersed myself in work. I was a graphic designer. I had projects, reports, meetings. I focused. It was a relief. At lunchtime, I went with my colleagues Rachel and Jessica. I had known them for years. We were friends. What is up, Brooke? You look terrible, Rachel said. Problems at home, I said without giving details. With Marcus? Jessica asked. I nodded. I did not want to talk about it, but I needed to tell someone. He wants me to go to Atlanta with his family for Christmas. I want to go to San Diego with my parents. And he does not want to, Rachel said, understanding instantly. No. He says it is tradition, that his mother expects us to go. Jessica rolled her eyes. Please, it is 2026. Those traditions are a prison. That is what I told him, but he does not listen. So what are you going to do? Rachel asked. I already have a ticket to San Diego for the 24th. They both smiled. Good for you, Jessica said. Sometimes you have to stand your ground. Yeah, but I am scared, I admitted. Of what will happen next? Whatever happens, happens. But at least you will have been true to yourself. They were right. We continued eating. We talked about other things, work, New Year's plans. For a while I felt normal. When I left the office, it was dark and colder. I walked home, I was in no hurry. When I arrived, the apartment was dark. I turned on the light. No one was there. Marcus had not come back, or he was in the bedroom with the door closed. I went to the guest room, took off my shoes and lay down. I checked my phone. I had a message from Marcus. We need to talk. Seriously. I did not reply. I had nothing to add. A while later I heard the front door. Footsteps. A knock on my door. Brooke, open up, please. His voice sounded different, softer, less angry. I got up and opened the door. He was standing there with a bottle of wine and 2 glasses. I thought we could talk like adults. Without shouting. I looked at him suspicious, but I nodded. Okay. We went to the living room. He poured the wine, handed me a glass. He took a sip. Look, he said. I do not want to fight. I really do not. Me neither. I understand you want to see your parents. You are right, it has been a while since we have seen them. I was surprised. I did not expect that. But he continued. But you also have to understand my position. My mother is older, she is from another time. For her, family is everything, and Christmas is sacred. It is sacred for my family too. I know. That is why I have thought of a solution. I waited, taking a small sip of wine. What solution? You go to San Diego, but not on the 24th. Go on the 23rd. You spend Christmas Eve with your parents. Then, on the morning of the 25th, you take a plane to Atlanta. You will arrive for Christmas lunch. That way you are with both families. What do you think? I stared at him. It seemed like a reasonable solution, but I knew his mother. I knew their Christmas lunches. They were all-day events, starting at 3 and ending at midnight. If I arrived on the morning of the 25th, I would be the outsider, the latecomer, the one who did not help prepare anything. And what does your mother say? I asked. I have not told her yet, but I think she will understand. At least you will be there for lunch. That is the important part. I shook my head. It will not work, Marcus. Your mother will want me there in the morning to help, to prepare. Arriving just in time to sit at the table, she will not like that. I will talk to her. I will explain it to her. And if she does not accept, she will. Trust me. I drank more wine. I thought about it. It was a compromise, an effort on his part. Maybe I should try for our marriage. Okay, I said finally. Try it. Talk to her. If she agrees, I will agree. He smiled, a wide, genuine smile. He came closer, took my hand. Thank you, Brooke. We will fix this. You will see. His hand was warm. I remembered when we first met 7 years ago at a party. He had smiled at me like that, and I knew I was lost. Now, he said, getting up, let me see your ticket. I will cancel it and buy another for the 23rd. And another for the 25th from San Diego to Atlanta. My blood ran cold. I put down my glass. What? Your ticket. So I can cancel it. Then I will buy the new ones. No, I will do it. Just tell me the days and times. I will take care of it. There is no need. Give me the details. I will do it now so you do not have to worry. His tone was kind, too kind. Suddenly I saw it clearly. It was not a compromise, it was a trap. If he had my flight details, he could control everything. He could cancel it without my knowledge, change it at his convenience. No, I said, standing up. I will do it. Give me your phone. I will look for the flights right now. Marcus, do not be so distrustful. I just want to help. I do not need help. I need you to treat me like an adult. Give me the phone or tell me the days. I will manage it. His smile vanished. His expression hardened. You do not trust me. Not with this. Not after last night. I was angry last night. I am not now. Now I want to fix things. Then let me manage my own tickets. It is a basic thing, Marcus. We stared at each other. The tension was back. The moment of calm was broken. As you wish, he said finally. His voice was cold. Manage your tickets. But let me know the time so I can organize everything. I will. He took one last sip of wine. I am going to call my mother and see what she says. He left the living room, went to the bedroom and closed the door. I stood there, wine glass in hand, trembling. Had I been paranoid or was I right to be suspicious? I decided it did not matter. I would manage my own tickets. I would be in control. I went to the guest room, closed the door, took out my laptop, and went to the airline's website. I searched for flights for December 23rd, Chicago to San Diego. There were some. Then for the 25th, San Diego to Atlanta. There were some of those too. They were expensive, very expensive, but I had savings. I would use them. I was about to book when I heard voices. They were coming from the bedroom. Marcus was on the phone with his mother. He was probably speaking quietly. I could not hear the words, but his tone was pleading, then firmer, then pleading again. After a while he came out and knocked on my door. Brooke. I opened it. He stood there looking tired. I have spoken with my mother. She agrees, but with one condition. What condition? That you arrive on the 25th first thing in the morning to help with the lunch preparations. Marcus, the first flight from San Diego to Atlanta leaves at 8, arriving at 9:30. With luck, I will be at your house by 10. That is first thing for her. Yes. She said 10 is fine, but do not be any later. I sighed. It was a small concession, but a concession nonetheless. Okay. I will be there at 10 on the dot. Good. He seemed relieved. So, everything is settled? Not yet. I have to change the tickets. Do it tomorrow. Rest now. It has been a long day. I nodded. I closed the door. I went back to the laptop, but I did not book the flights. Something told me to wait, that I could not trust this. The next day at the office I did it. I booked the flight for the 23rd, Chicago to San Diego, and the one for the 25th, San Diego to Atlanta. I paid, received the confirmation by email, printed it, and put it in my purse. That evening I showed it to Marcus. Here they are. All done. He looked at the papers, nodded. Good. I will see you in Atlanta on the 25th. Should I meet you at the airport or at your house? At the house. I will come get you. Okay. He seemed happy. Too happy. We had dinner together. We talked about trivial things, work, Christmas, as if nothing had happened. But I noticed something. A tension beneath the surface, an evasive look, a forced smile. That night I went to bed in the guest room, but I could not sleep. Something did not feel right. Marcus had given in too quickly. His mother had agreed too easily. I got up, went to the kitchen for water, and passed through the living room. Marcus's laptop was on the table, open. On the screen was the airline's website. I got closer, looked. The browsing history showed searches. Flights from Chicago to San Diego on the 24th, my original flight. Then the manage my booking page. And there it was. My confirmation number, my name, my flight. He had looked it up. He had accessed my reservation or tried to. My heart pounded. I took a deep breath, closed the laptop, went back to my room, and sat on the bed in the darkness. Now I knew. I did not trust him, and I was right. Marcus had a plan, and I needed one of my own. My mother answered on the first ring, as if she had been waiting for my call. "Honey, tell me, how are you?" Her voice was an immediate bomb, filled with that mix of concern and firmness only mothers can manage. I was at the office taking advantage of my coffee break. I had closed my office door. Outside, the bustle of the advertising agency continued, oblivious to my personal drama. "I do not trust him, Mom." Marcus looked up my reservation on the computer. The one for the 24th. And now, all of a sudden, he wants me to cancel it and book new ones, arrive on the 23rd, and leave for Atlanta on the 25th. He says his mother has given in. There was a silence on the other end, then a sigh I knew well. The "I told you so, but I did not want to push it" sigh. Gloria giving in? I would have to see it to believe it. My mother's tone was dry. She had never warmed to my mother-in-law. At the wedding, she maintained a diplomatic smile, but later in the privacy of our home she told me, "That woman wants a daughter-in-law, not a daughter. Be careful, Brooke." "I do not believe it either," I admitted, fiddling with a pen. "But why would he do this? Why does he want my flight details?" "To control, honey. To have the upper hand. If he manages the tickets, he decides. He can change the date on you at the last minute. He can cancel it. You would have no idea." The pen snapped between my fingers. A line of blue ink stained my index finger. "Do you think he would do that?" "Marcus." "I do not know, but Gloria would. That woman is capable of anything to get her way. And Marcus, when it comes to his mother, he stops thinking." A chill ran down my spine. My mother was not an alarmist. She was a realist, and she knew Gloria Thompson's character perfectly. "What do I do, Mom?" The question came out in a whisper. I suddenly felt like the 15-year-old girl calling her mother because a boy had broken her heart. "Listen to me carefully, Brooke." Her voice became clear, direct, like when she taught me to ride a bike. "Do not cancel your flight for the 24th. Keep it. Book the other one, the one he wants if you have to, just to keep the peace. But do not give him the confirmation number. Do not show him the confirmation. Just tell him you did it and leave it at that. But if I do not show him, he will get angry. He will want proof. Let him get angry. This is your battle, honey. You cannot let him win the first round. If he controls your travel, he controls you. And this is about you taking back control. Understand?" I understood perfectly. "And one more thing," my mother continued, her tone lowering as if sharing a state secret. "Your father and I have talked. If things get ugly, if there is really no turning back, you always have a place here. Not just for Christmas. For whatever you need. Forever." Tears stung my eyes. I swallowed them down. I could not break down at the office. "Thanks, Mom." "Do not thank me. You are our daughter. Now be smart. Be smarter than them. And call if you need anything anytime." I hung up. I stared at the blue ink stain on my finger and rubbed it with a tissue. It would not come out. Like some things. Like the suspicion that now nested in my chest. I decided to follow her advice. I opened the browser. I booked the flight from Chicago to San Diego for the 23rd. Then the one from San Diego to Atlanta for the 25th. I used my card, received the confirmations, and printed them. They were two separate bookings with two different confirmation numbers. Then I opened another tab, went to the airline's website, to manage my booking for the original flight on the 24th. I changed my email address to a secondary account I had that Marcus did not know about, one I use for work-related things. Then, in the contact details, I added my personal cell number but removed the home landline. Finally, I activated all notifications, reminders, changes, alerts. Everything would go to my secret email in my phone. If anyone tried to touch that reservation, I would know instantly. I saved everything. I logged out. I cleared the browser history. I took a deep breath. I felt like a spy in my own life. The phone rang. It was Marcus. I did not want to answer, but I did. Yes. Hi, honey. I just wanted to know if you made the change to your flights. His voice was sweet, too sweet. Yes, it is done. I arrive in San Diego on the afternoon of the 23rd and leave for Atlanta on the morning of the 25th at 8. I will be there at 9:30. Perfect. Can you send me the confirmation? There it was. The trap. If it was a trap, it was sprung. I will send it tonight when I get home. The printer at the office is not working well. A small lie. I needed time. Okay, no rush. I will see you for dinner. I bought that wine you like. Okay, see you later. I hung up. I rested my forehead on the cold desk. Was I being paranoid, or was this a necessary precaution? I did not know. But something inside me, a deep ancient instinct, told me I was not wrong. Meanwhile, on the other end of the line, Marcus hung up the phone. He was not at home. He was in a bar near his office. In front of him, a half-empty glass of beer. Beside him, his younger sister, Vanessa. So, did she do it? Vanessa asked, taking a sip of her tonic water. She says so. She says she will send me the confirmation. But she has not sent it yet. No. She says she cannot print it at the office. Vanessa nodded. She was younger than Marcus, but sometimes she seemed older. She had their mother's cold, calculating insight. She does not trust you. It makes sense. After yesterday's fight. It was not a fight, it was a discussion. Call it what you want. The point is, your wife has decided to stand up to you, and Mom is not going to tolerate it. Marcus took a long swig of beer. He knew his sister was right. His mother, Gloria, did not tolerate challenges, especially from a daughter-in-law who, in her opinion, had never been good enough for her son. Mom has already called me 3 times today, Marcus said, rubbing his eyes. She wants to know if everything is under control. And is it? Vanessa's question was direct, almost cruel. Of course it is. Brooke will come to Atlanta on the 25th. She will be at lunch. Mom should be happy with that. Vanessa let out a dry laugh. Happy? As if Mom knows what that is. For her it is all or nothing. And Brooke defying her Christmas Eve plans? That is nothing. It is a personal affront. What do you want me to do, Vanessa? Tie her up and put her in the trunk. No, but there are ways. You have to be smarter. If Brooke controls her tickets, she has the power. You need to get that control back. Marcus looked at her. Deep down, he knew where she was going with this, and he did not like it. What are you suggesting? That you talk to Mom. Let her help you. She has resources. Resources? What, is she going to bribe someone at United? Do not be a fool. She has connections, people who know how to get things done. If you can get Brooke's reservation details, Mom can take care of it. Take care of what? Vanessa lowered her voice, though there was only the murmur of the bar around them. Of making sure Brooke does not get on that plane on the 24th. Or that if she does, she has a little problem. A delay, a cancellation. Something that forces her to get to Atlanta on the 24th, not the 25th. Marcus turned pale. He was no saint, but the idea of actively sabotaging his wife's plans went too far. That is no, Vanessa. We cannot. We cannot? Or you do not want to? Look, Marcus, this is simpler than you think. Either Brooke learns her place, or this is just the beginning. What happens next year? And when you have kids, are you going to let her decide where you spend every Christmas? Let her turn her back on your family. The mention of children twisted his stomach. It was a sensitive topic. His mother was constantly asking about grandchildren. Brooke wanted to wait. He did too deep down, but the pressure was enormous. Brooke is not turning her back on the family. She just wants to see her parents. And you want her to be with your family. With our family. Someone has to give, and it is not going to be Mom. And from the looks of it, not Brooke either. So it is up to you. You decide, Marcus. Your wife or your mother? It was a trick question. He knew it. But there in the bar, with the pressure from his sister and the ghost of his mother on the other end of the phone, the answer seemed obvious. My family, he muttered. But I do not want to hurt Brooke. It is not about hurting her. It is about making her see reality. Family comes first. And in this family, Mom is in charge. It has always been that way. Brooke knew that when she married you. Did she know? Marcus was not sure. When they got married, Brooke was different, more docile, more eager to please. Something had changed in recent years. She had become firmer, as if she had woken up from a dream. Okay, he said finally, his voice hoarse. I will talk to Mom. But no sabotage. We will just see what can be done. Vanessa smiled, a smile that did not reach her eyes. Whatever you say. But do not take too long. Time is running out. Marcus paid the bill and left the bar. The cold Chicago air hit his face. He took out his phone, hesitated, looked at the screen. The background photo was of Brooke, laughing on the beach in San Diego last summer. Her hair in the wind, her eyes bright. He gritted his teeth and dialed his mother's number. She answered on the second ring as always. Marcus, honey, you finally called. I was worried. Gloria Thompson's voice was soft, melodic, but with a steel edge behind it. Hi, Mom. Yes, I have talked to Brooke. She says she has changed the tickets. She is arriving on the 25th. The 25th? The tone dropped several degrees. Marcus, I told you first thing in the morning to help. And she will. She arrives at 9:30, she will be here by 10. Plenty of time to help. Plenty of time, his mother repeated, and he could imagine her disdainful expression. Well, it had better be. Because your Aunt Evelyn has already said she is coming early with her famous pies, and you know how she gets. If Brooke is not here to greet her and help me, she is going to make one of her snide remarks. Marcus felt a headache starting. His Aunt Evelyn was the most critical and gossipy member of the family. Everything was wrong in her eyes. Brooke will be there, Mom. I promise. I hope so. Because I do not want another year of comments. Oh, Gloria, your daughter-in-law is so modern, so busy. I am tired of it, Marcus. Tired of making excuses. You do not have to make excuses for anyone. Of course I do. This is Atlanta, son. People talk. And your marriage, well, they are already saying you do not come around much, that Brooke seems more attached to her hometown. It was a low blow and she knew it. Gloria always used the most effective weapons. Brooke loves her family just like I do. But she will come. She will do it for us. For you, you mean? Because clearly, she will not do it for me. There was a dramatic pause. Well, never mind. You will send me her flight details, will you not? So I know exactly what time she arrives, and in case of delays. There was the request. Subtle but clear. Yes, Mom. As soon as I have them, I will send them to you. Good. And Marcus, one more thing. What is it? That woman is your wife, and I respect her as such. But I will not allow her to disrespect us, this family. If she comes on the 25th with a good attitude, puts on an apron, and helps as she should, I will not say a thing. But if she arrives with those independent woman airs, if she thinks she can sit at the table like a guest, then we will have a problem. And you will have to solve it. Understood. He understood perfectly. It was an ultimatum. Brooke had to behave like the submissive, hard-working daughter-in-law, or there would be consequences. And he, Marcus, would be in charge of enforcing them. Understood, Mom. Very good. I love you, son. I love you too. He hung up. He leaned against the cold wall of a building. He closed his eyes. The pressure in his temples was now a constant throbbing. He took out his phone again, opened his email and searched for Brooke and flight. He found an old email from months ago when they went to Boston. She had forwarded him the confirmation. It had all her details, her full name, her ID number, her email address, and the booking reference. He smiled. A joyless smile. He did not need her to send him anything. He already had everything he needed. He put his phone away and headed home. He had a plan to execute and a wife to convince that everything was fine. The notification arrived at 11 p.m. On the 22nd, I was in the guest room packing my final bag. I was putting in the last folded sweater when my phone vibrated. It was not a call. It was an email from the airline. The subject line read, "Modification to your booking flight ORDSAN 24/12. A chill ran down my spine. I opened the email with slightly trembling fingers. Dear MS. Thompson, we are writing to inform you that a cancellation has been requested for your booking, confirmation number XJ8FK3, for flight UA421 from Chicago to San Diego on December 24th at 9:20 a.m. This cancellation has been completed. A refund will be processed to the original payment card within 7 to 10 business days. If you did not request this cancellation, please contact customer service. Sincerely, United Airlines. I stood motionless, staring at the screen. The letters danced before my eyes. Cancellation requested. Completed. I had not requested it. I took a deep breath. A strange icy calm washed over me. It was not surprise, it was confirmation. The proof. Marcus had done it. Or someone at his request. I closed my eyes for a moment. Then I put my phone away, finished zipping up my suitcase and left it by the door. I walked out of the room. Marcus was in the living room watching television. A football game. He looked relaxed, a beer in his hand. Marcus. Yeah, honey. He did not even look away from the screen. They have canceled my flight. The silence was absolute, broken only by the game's commentator. He very slowly lowered the volume with the remote. Then he turned to me. His expression was a mask of surprise. Too perfect. What? What did you say? My flight. For tomorrow. Chicago to San Diego. It has been canceled. That cannot be. The airline? Because of the weather. He stood up, feigning concern. He was a bad actor. No. The cancellation was requested. By the reservation holder. Or by someone with the details. I stared at him. You have my details, Marcus. From that old email from Boston. His mask cracked. Just for an instant. A flicker of panic. Then indignation. Are you seriously accusing me, Brooke? Do you really think I would do something like that? Yes, I do. Are you crazy? Why would I do that? We already agreed you would come on the 25th. I even helped you look for the flights. You suggested the flights. And you wanted my reservation details. I did not give them to you, but you found them in your email. Now the panic was real. I saw it in his eyes. He had forgotten that detail, that he himself had forwarded that confirmation months ago. I do not know what you are talking about, he said, but his voice sounded hollow. Weak. Yes, you do. And now, thanks to you, I do not have a flight to see my parents tomorrow. I took a step forward. But it does not matter. Because I have another one. He froze. Another one? Yes. The original one. The one I never canceled. For the 24th at 9:20. Because what a coincidence, I booked two. I took out my phone and showed him the screen. Another confirmation. A reservation in the name of Thompson Brooke. Flight. December 24th. 9:20 a.m. Everything in order. Marcus's face fell. He went from panic to disbelief, and from there to pure furious rage. You deceived me. You have been lying to me this whole time. You have been spying on me and canceling my flights, and you are talking about lies? I shouted. I could not hold it in anymore. What do you think I am? Your child? Your property? Someone whose decisions you can make for her. You are my wife. And I have a brain and the right to buy a plane ticket without my husband sabotaging it. We stood face to face, breathing heavily. The football game continued on mute, silent images of men chasing a ball. An absurd and alien world. I am not going to let you leave, he said, his voice low and trembling. Not tomorrow. Not like this. You have nothing to let me do. I am an adult. I will leave when I want and go where I want. Your place is here with me, or in Atlanta with my family. My place is wherever I say it is. And tomorrow, it will be in San Diego with my family. He slammed his fist on the table. The beer spilled. Enough. The act is over. You are staying here, and on the 25th we are going to Atlanta together like a family. The way it should be. No, what did I say? That I said no. I am not going to Atlanta. Not after this. His breath was a hiss. You have a duty. My only duty is to myself. And to you this is over. It is over, Marcus. The words came out on their own, clear, crisp, and as I said them, I knew they were true. It was not a threat in a fit of anger. It was a conclusion. He understood it too. Something in his gaze shattered. The rage gave way to something more like fear. No, Brooke, do not say that. You are angry. You do not mean it. I mean it and I feel it. This just is not working anymore. It cannot work. You and your mother are a package deal, and I do not want that package. Do not talk about my mother like that. I will talk about her however I please. She is a manipulator, and you are her puppet. The blow was not physical, but it hurt just the same. He recoiled as if I had slapped him. His face turned pale. Get out of my house, he said in a voice I did not recognize. Your house? This house is half mine. The mortgage is in both our names. And a lot of the furniture I bought myself. Then leave. Go to your San Diego and do not come back. I will. I turned around. I went into the room, grabbed my suitcase and my coat. My purse was already packed. I walked past him, where he stood planted in the middle of the living room, trembling with anger. Goodbye, Marcus. If you walk out that door, do not come back. I swear. I did not answer. I opened the front door. The hallway was cold and silent. I slammed it shut behind me. The slam echoed through the entire floor. I ran down the stairs, the suitcase bumping against the steps. I went out into the street. The frigid Chicago air hit my face. I had nowhere to go. It was 11:30 at night. The nearby hotels would be expensive, but I could not go back. I walked aimlessly, dragging the suitcase. The wheels made a deafening noise in the quiet street. I reached a small park, sat on a cold bench. I shivered from the cold, from adrenaline, from everything. I took out my phone, called my mother. She answered on the first ring, her voice sleepy. Brooke? What is wrong, honey? It is 11-inch, Mom. My voice broke. I could not help it. He did it. He canceled my flight. We had a terrible fight. I left the house. Oh my God. My mother's voice became instantly alert. Where are you? Are you okay? Yes, I am fine. I am in a park near the apartment. I do not know where to go. Listen to me. Go to a cafe. Anyone that is open. Sit down. Order a coffee. I will call your father. We are booking a hotel for you right now. Do you have money? Yes, I have my card. Good. Go somewhere with lights and call me when you are inside. Do not hang up. Okay, Mom. I did not hang up. I got up, dragged the suitcase to a cafe that still had its lights on. It was one of those impersonal, all-night places. I went inside. The warmth and the smell of stale coffee greeted me. A tired-looking waiter pointed me to a table. I sat down, ordered a coffee with milk. Then I spoke to my mother, who was still on the phone. I am inside now. Good. Your father is looking for hotels. There is one near you. The Hyatt. It has rooms. I am sending you the address. Go there, get a room. We are leaving right now. Now? Mom, it is midnight. You are in San Diego. It does not matter. We will take the first flight we can. We will be there in a few hours. You stay in the hotel. Do not go out. Do not answer Marcus. Understood. But you cannot make that trip right now. It is crazy. You are our daughter. It is not crazy, it is what has to be done. Now go to the hotel. We will see you at dawn. I cried, sitting in that dingy cafe with a horrible coffee in front of me. I cried silently, from relief, from gratitude, from the awful certainty that my marriage was over. Thank you, Mom. Hush. Go to the hotel. And do not worry about the money. You are welcome. I hung up. I took a sip of coffee. It was terrible, but it was hot. I paid, left, and followed the directions on my phone to the hotel. It was a modern glass building. I went in. The receptionist looked at me curiously but said nothing. I booked a room for one night. I paid with my card. The room was impersonal, white, cold. I left my suitcase, sat on the bed. I was shaking. It had all happened so fast. I looked at my phone. 10 missed calls from Marcus. 3 messages. Brooke, come back. Let us talk. Brooke, I am sorry. I was an idiot. Come back. Brooke, please do not do this. I did not reply. I deleted the messages, turned off my phone, and lay down on the bed still dressed. I stared at the ceiling and waited. Dawn arrived gray and cold. At 6 a.m. the room phone rang. It was the front desk. "Ms. Thompson, you have visitors. Your parents. Please tell them to come up." Minutes later there was a knock on the door. I opened it. There they were. My mother, Patricia, in her brown coat, her expression one of fierce protection. My father, Robert, quieter, his eyes full of worry. They hugged me, all three of us, in the doorway of that hotel room. And for the first time in many hours I felt safe. "Come on," my mother said, pulling away and wiping a tear. "Get your things. We are going home." "I have a flight at 9:20, I said, my voice hoarse. "Forget about that flight," my father said, speaking for the first time. His deep, calm voice was an anchor. "We are going to do things differently." "Differently how?" My mother and father looked at each other. My mother nodded. My father took a breath. "We are not going to San Diego," my father said. "Not yet. Your mother and I have a plan." "A plan?" "Yes," my mother said, and in her eyes, I saw a glint of determination I had not seen in years. "If Marcus and his mother want to play dirty, we can play too. But we play to win. Get your things, honey. We have a plane to catch." "To where?" I asked, confused. My mother took my face in her hands. Her eyes were pools of love and firmness. "Far away, sweetheart. Very far away. Where they cannot find you. Where you can breathe and decide what you want to do with your life. No pressure, no mothers-in-law, no husbands who cancel your flights." "But what about my job? And my things?" "The job can wait or you can quit. Things are just things. You are what is important." My father put a hand on my shoulder. "Trust us, Brooke. Like you trusted us when you were little." I looked at them, at my mother with her fierce bravery, at my father with his unshakable calm, and I nodded. I did not have the strength for more questions. I did not have a better plan. I just wanted to leave. "Okay," I whispered. "Let us go." I packed my suitcase in less than 5 minutes. We went down in the elevator. At the reception desk we paid for the room. We went out to the street. My parents' rental car was double parked. "And my flight to San Diego?" I asked as I put my suitcase in the trunk. "It has already been canceled," my mother said with an almost cheerful tone. "Early this morning. You will get your money back. Do not worry." I got into the back seat of the car. My father started the engine. He drove toward the Kennedy Expressway. But instead of taking the exit toward the city center or west toward O'Hare Domestic, he took the direction toward the international terminal. "Where are we going?" I asked again, a pang of anxiety in my stomach. "To O'Hare," my father said, looking at me in the rearview mirror. "But not to Terminal 3 for domestic flights. To Terminal 5. International flights." "International? To where?" My mother turned in her seat. Her smile was wide, triumphant, and a little sad. "To London, sweetheart. Your cousin Tyler lives there. He has a big apartment. He invited us to spend Christmas. All 3 of us. The tickets are bought. We leave in 3 hours." I was speechless. London. Leaving the country. Leaving everything behind. It was crazy. It was huge. It was terrifying. And it was perhaps exactly what I needed. "And you? Do you have passports, suitcases?" "In the trunk behind yours," my father said. "Your mother planned everything last night after your call. While I was looking for hotels, she was looking for flights. And she found 3 seats to London. Expensive, but they were there." "But what about your house? And your jobs?" "The house is not going anywhere," my mother said with absolute pragmatism. "Your father's business is his own, and so is mine. We can take a few days off. This is more important. You are more important." I looked out the window. Chicago passed by quickly, gray and asleep. I was leaving behind my apartment, my husband, my life. A lump formed in my throat, but it was not from sadness. It was from something more like hope. "And Marcus?" I asked in a low voice. "Marcus," my mother said, and her voice lost all its sweetness, "can spend Christmas with his mother just like he wanted. And he can explain to her why his wife will not be there. Not on the 24th, Not on the 25th, and probably never again. The car entered the airport access road. The blue signs glowed in the dawn light. Terminal 5 International Departures. Are you sure, honey? My father asked, his voice soft. Once we do this, there is no going back. Things will change forever. I looked at their backs in front of me, at my mother with her gray hair pulled back in a practical bun, at my father with his weathered neck. They had flown all night for me. They had dropped everything for me. They were my family. My real family. Yes, I said, and my voice sounded clear and firm for the first time in a long time. I am sure. Let us go to London. My mother reached her hand back. I took it. The pressure of her fingers was strong, certain. That is my girl, she said. Now get ready. We have a plane to catch. And a new Christmas to celebrate. The car stopped at the departures entrance. We got out, took out the suitcases. We entered the bright, chaotic world of O'Hare. The smell of coffee, of crowds, of travel. As I walked toward the check-in counter with my parents on either side, I took out my phone and turned it on. Dozens of notifications, calls, messages. I ignored them all. I opened my contact list, found Marcus, and with a finger that did not tremble, I blocked his number. Then I looked ahead toward the counter, toward the unsmiling flight attendant, toward freedom. 3 passengers for London, my father said, placing the passports on the counter. The adventure was finally beginning. The line at the British Airways counter was long, full of families with excited children and couples with shiny suitcases. We were a silent, out-of-place trio. I was still in the same clothes as the day before. My parents looked tired but alert, like 2 soldiers on a mission. Passports, please. The attendant, a young woman with a professional smile, took them and glanced them over. 3 for London Heathrow. Checking any bags. Just these 3, my father said, placing the suitcases on the belt. The tags printed with a whir. The suitcases began to slide away into the unknown. An absurd thought crossed my mind. Had I packed enough warm clothes for London? Then I laughed to myself. It was the least of my worries. Boarding passes. Gate B48. Boarding begins at 8:50. You have time. Have a nice flight. We took the passports and the papers. My mother tucked them into her purse with a possessive gesture. I will take care of these. We walked toward the security checkpoint. Each step felt lighter, more unreal. I looked around, almost expecting to see Marcus running toward us, shouting my name, but I only saw strangers absorbed in their own journeys. As we passed through security, a strange feeling washed over me. It was like crossing an invisible border. I was leaving behind a country, a life. On the other side was only a neutral space of gray carpet and duty-free shops. Coffee, my father proposed. We have almost 2 hours. I nodded. We found a cafe and sat down. We ordered 3 coffees and 3 chocolate croissants. No one was hungry, but it was something to do. Are you okay, honey? My mother asked, studying my face. I do not know, I answered honestly. I feel like I am dreaming. Or like I am 5 years old again, and you are deciding everything for me. My father took my hand. We are not deciding for you. We are offering you a way out. The final decision to stay or go back will be yours alone. I promise. And what if I want to go back? The question came out on its own. It was the doubt creeping in the back of my mind. My parents looked at each other. It was my mother who answered with her usual frankness. Then you will go back. And we will be with you for whatever you need. But before you go back, take this time. Breathe. Think. Away from his influence, away from the pressure. Sometimes to see clearly, you have to get some distance. She was right. In Chicago, everything was contaminated. The apartment, the furniture, every corner smelled of arguments, disappointment, broken promises. Even the air seemed heavy. And Cousin Tyler? I asked. Does he really not mind us showing up like this unannounced? For Christmas. My mother smiled. Tyler is your cousin, but he is like a brother to me. When I called him last night after talking to you, his response was, "How many of you are there?" 3. Then come. I have space and food and I am eager to see you. It is not a bother, Brooke. It is family. I remembered Tyler, a tall, lanky guy with glasses and a permanent smile. He had moved to London 10 years ago to work in tech. He had always been kind, approachable. At weddings and baptisms, he always sat with the misfits, with those of us who did not fit into the family hustle. Like me. Thank you, I said. And this time tears welled up. For everything. For coming. For listening to me. Do not thank us, my father said, his voice a little hoarse. It is what had to be done. We drank our coffees in silence. I watched people pass by. A world in motion. I was just one of them. Suddenly my mother stiffened. Her gaze locked on something behind me. You have got to be kidding me, she muttered. I turned around. There, about 50 yards away, near an electronics store, was Marcus. He was with his sister, Vanessa. They were both looking around with urgent, angry expressions. Marcus was on his phone gesticulating. My heart gave a brutal lurch. My blood ran cold. They had found us. Stay still, my father ordered in a low voice. He has not seen us. He is looking toward the domestic departure gates. It was true. Marcus and Vanessa were near the departure area for San Diego, Los Angeles, New York. They were looking for me where they thought I would be, trying to catch another flight to San Diego. It had not occurred to them to look toward the international departures. We have to go to the gate, my mother said, picking up her purse. Now. Without drawing attention. We stood up. We walked in the opposite direction, toward gate B48. We did not run. We walked at a normal but quick pace. I did not dare turn my head. I could feel his presence like a heat on the back of my neck. How did he find us? I asked, panting. The hotel, my father said, scowling. He must have called all the hotels near the apartment asking for you. One of them gave him information. Or he tracked your card. We reached the boarding gate. There were already about 30 people waiting. We sat in the furthest seats, with our backs to the access walkway. My heart was beating like a drum. What if he comes here? I asked, terrified. He cannot get on without a boarding pass. Security will not let him through. And he does not know where we are going. My mother seemed calm, but she was clutching her purse tightly. Eternal minutes passed. Every person who approached the gate made me jump. Finally, at 8:50 exactly, an attendant announced over the loudspeaker, "Passengers on flight BA425 to London Heathrow, we are now beginning boarding by groups. Group 1, please." We were in Group 3. We waited. I saw Marcus and Vanessa again, further away now, walking through the main gallery. He was still on the phone, his face contorted. He looked like a cornered animal. For a moment I felt pity. Then I remembered the cancellation email, and the pity evaporated. Group 3. It was our turn. We stood up, got in line, scanned our boarding passes, and went through the door that led to the jet bridge. One last look back. Marcus and Vanessa were no longer in sight. We had vanished. The jet bridge tunnel was long, white, fluorescent. At the end, the door of the plane. A smiling flight attendant welcomed us. "Good morning, welcome aboard." We entered. The plane was huge, with that characteristic smell of filtered air and cleanliness. Our seats were in the center, 3 in a row. I sat by the window. My mother in the middle, my father on the aisle. I fastened my seatbelt. My hands were shaking. My father took my hand again. "Easy now. We are safe." It was not until the doors closed with a final, dull thud and the captain announced over the intercom, "Cabin crew, prepare for takeoff," that I could truly breathe. The plane began to taxi. I looked out the window. Chicago, gray and cold, slid by. The control tower, the runways, the hangars, everything grew smaller. Then a brutal force pushed us back into our seats. The plane took off. The city became a mosaic of patches, then a blurry drawing, and finally disappeared under a sea of white clouds. We had taken off. Literally. I unbuckled my seatbelt. A bone-deep fatigue washed over me. I closed my eyes. "Sleep, honey," my mother said, tucking a blanket around me that she had asked the attendant for. "Sleep. When we wake up, it will be another day, another country, another life." And I did. I sank into a deep, dreamless sleep, lulled by the hum of the engines. While Brooke's plane disappeared into the clouds, Marcus Thompson was on the verge of a nervous breakdown in Terminal 5 of O'Hare. "She is not here. She is not on any flight to San Diego, he shouted at his sister, ignoring the stares of the people around them. Calm down, Vanessa said, but her face was also pale. Maybe she took a later one, or from another airline. I have checked them all. On the screen at the counter, there is no Brooke Thompson on any flight to San Diego today. He slammed his palm against a pillar. The pain shot up his arm, but he barely felt it. Where is she? Where has she gone? His phone rang. It was his mother. He swallowed hard and answered. Well? Do you have her? Gloria's voice was a blade. No, Mom, she is not here. She is not on any flight to San Diego. What do you mean she is not there? She has to be. You canceled her ticket yourself. Yes, but she must have booked another one, and I cannot find it. You are useless, Marcus. Utterly useless. The contempt in his mother's voice cut him like a knife. Not only can you not control your wife, but she deceives you, and now she has gotten away from us. She has not gotten away, Mom. She will be in Chicago in some hotel. I will find her. And how, son? By calling the police and telling them your adult wife left the house of her own free will? How shameful. Gloria paused. Marcus could hear her loud, angry breathing. Go home. To your home. And wait. She will come back when she runs out of money or when she realizes her mistake. Women like her always come back. I do not know, Mom. This time feels different. Do not talk to me about different. She is your wife, and her duty is to be here with you with her family. Now hang up and do not call me until you have her under control. The call ended. Marcus let his arm drop, the phone still in his hand. He felt empty, humiliated. Vanessa was looking at him with pity. Come on, Marcus. Mom is right. Go home. Wait. I cannot wait, Vanessa. I have lost her. For real, I know it. Do not be ridiculous. It is a tantrum. She will get over it. Marcus did not answer. He looked around at the terminal full of people leaving, arriving, living their lives. Brooke was somewhere, but not where he could reach her. For the first time, a terrifying thought crossed his mind. What if she did not come back? What if this was really the end? Let us go, he said to his sister in a dull voice. There is nothing more to do here. They left the airport. The sky over Chicago was a leaden gray, threatening snow. A perfect Christmas to be alone. On the plane, I woke up when the flight attendant started serving the meal. It was a strange breakfast. Eggs, sausage, a croissant. I was not hungry, but I ate a little. I needed strength. My parents ate in silence. The atmosphere between us was strange. We had crossed a line together, and now we did not quite know what to say. You know what I was thinking? My mother said suddenly, putting down her fork. This is the first Christmas the three of us have spent alone, without extended family, since you were little. Since before your grandparents died. She was right. It had always been the extended family, the endless tables, the obligations. This time it would just be us and Tyler. And how does that feel? I asked. Liberating, my father said, without hesitation. A little sad, but mostly liberating. Not having to please anyone. No political arguments, no listening to your Uncle Frank's same bad jokes. I smiled. It was true. Christmas had always been a source of stress, even with my own family. Always trying to balance, to please, not to hurt feelings. Do you think I overreacted, Dad? The question came out in a whisper. Should I have put up with it? Tried to talk more. My father looked at me for a long time. His eyes, the same hazel color as mine, were serene. Brooke, respect is non-negotiable. It is the bare minimum. And when someone disrespects you systematically, and the person who should defend you does not, you have every right in the world to walk away. It is not overreacting. It is surviving. But I love him, I said, and it was the most painful truth. Or I had loved him. Despite everything. Love should not hurt so much, my mother said softly. Love should be a refuge, not a battlefield. What you had with Marcus had become a constant battle, and you were always losing. I looked out the window. Only clouds and infinite white sea. It was a good metaphor for my future. Blank, finally, but also infinite and terrifying. So now what? I asked. What do I do when we get there? For now, my father said. Nothing. You rest. You see London. You take walks. You sleep for 10 hours straight. You cry if you feel like it. You scream. You break plates. Whatever you need. And when your head is clear, you think, do you want to try to talk to Marcus with a mediator? Or do you want a divorce? There is no rush. You have time and you have our support, whatever it is. Divorce. The word was so huge, so final. It floated in the air between us. It did not scare me anymore. It brought a deep sadness but also a glimpse of peace. Thank you, I repeated for the 100th time. It was the only thing I could think of to say. The rest of the flight was calm. We watched a silly movie. We talked about trivial things, London, Tyler, the weather. When the captain announced we were beginning our descent, I looked out the window. Below the clouds was a green and gray landscape, dotted with the yellow lights of a city that seemed to stretch on forever. London. I had never been. The landing was smooth. The silly applause from some passengers sounded in the cabin. We taxied to the terminal. The Welcome to London Heathrow sign passed by the window. I unbuckled my seatbelt. I was the first to stand up. My parents followed. We left the plane, entered the jet bridge, and then the immense bustling terminal. The air smelled different, of rain, of coffee, of people from 1,000 places. We followed the signs to immigration. The line for other passports was long. We waited. When it was my turn, the border agent, a serious man in a uniform, glanced at my passport. Purpose of your visit, Ms. Thompson. Vacation. Spending Christmas with family. Where are you staying? At my cousin's house in Islington. How long are you staying? I looked at my parents who had already passed through. I do not know, I said, and it was the most honest truth I had spoken in a long time. A few weeks. It depends. The agent looked me in the eyes, then at my passport, then at me again. He stamped a page with a sharp thud. Enjoy your stay in the United Kingdom. Thank you. I passed through. I had crossed the border. Now I was officially in another country, in another life. We collected our suitcases and went out to the arrivals area. In the crowd I saw a tall man in a dark blue jacket holding a homemade sign that read, in clumsy Spanish, Welcome Thompson family. Merry Christmas or something like that. It was Tyler. I smiled, a real smile, for the first time in days. I ran to him. He hugged me tightly, lifting me off the ground. Brooke, it has been too long. And what a mess you have gotten into, from what I hear. Welcome to the Great Escape. His enthusiasm was contagious. He greeted my mother and father, hugging them too. Come on, the car is outside. It is freezing, but at home I have got the heat on full blast and a gin and tonic ready. Or tea for the traditionalists. We went outside. The London cold hit me like a damp cutting wall. I buttoned my coat up to my neck. Tyler loaded the suitcases into a station wagon. We got in. He started the car. We left the airport and merged onto a highway full of traffic on the left side. Everything was backward. The signs were in English, the buildings were different, the light was low and gray. I looked out the window. The streets passed by, full of shops with Christmas decorations, people with umbrellas, red double-decker buses. So, Tyler said, looking at me in the rearview mirror, what do you think of your new hideout? It is perfect, I said, and I meant it. No one will find me here. I hope not, because I have planned a picture-perfect Christmas. Lots of pudding, silly gifts, and maybe, if you are lucky, a walk through a frozen Hyde Park. Are you in? I am in for all of it, I said. And for the first time, looking at the unfamiliar city speeding by, I knew it could be true. I could start over. Or at least I could rest. The car plunged into the London traffic, carrying me toward a temporary refuge, toward a respite, toward a piece of peace I did not know I needed so much. Tyler's house was on a quiet street in Islington. It was a red brick building with a blue door. As we entered, the warmth was immediate. It smelled of wood, curry, and pine-scented candles. Welcome to my chaos, Tyler said, dropping the suitcases in the hallway. The guest room is for you, Brooke. It is the biggest. Patricia, Robert, you are on the sofa bed in the study. I hope it is okay. It is perfect, Ty, my mother said, kissing his cheek. You do not know what this means to us. I know. And I am glad I can help. He looked at me. What do you need? Food. Sleep. A whiskey? A tea? Tea, I think, I said, feeling exhaustion suddenly hit me like a wave. Tea it is. While Tyler prepared the drinks in the open kitchen, I looked around. The house was cozy, creatively messy. Books everywhere, old movie posters, a guitar in a corner. It was the home of someone who lived alone and was happy. I sat on a huge burgundy sofa. My mother sat next to me, taking my hand. My father walked around looking at the books. "He is a good kid, Tyler," he said quietly. "The best," I confirmed. Tyler brought a tray with 4 steaming mugs, cookies, and a small plate of holiday bread. "It is Italian, but it is close enough to Christmas," he joked. We drank the tea. The warmth spread through my body. A comfortable silence filled the room, broken only by the ticking of an old clock on the mantelpiece. "So," Tyler said finally, leaning on the arm of the sofa, "no pressure. But if you want to talk, I am here. If not, I will pretend this is a totally normal visit from my favorite American relatives." I smiled. "Thanks, Ty. Really. For now I do not want to think. Just be." "Then that is your mission. To be. The sofa is yours, so is the TV. Netflix has my password. The kitchen has food. I work from home, but I will be in my cave. Do not mind me." My father nodded. "Do not worry about us. We have been enough of a bother." "No bother at all," Tyler said, and you could tell he meant it. Then he looked at me more seriously. "Just one thing, Brooke. Does he know you are here?" "No. No one knows, just you 3. "Good. Then my lips are sealed and my door is locked. You are safe here." Those words, "you are safe," resonated within me. I needed to hear them. I nodded, unable to speak through the lump in my throat. We spent the rest of the afternoon in calm. My parents showered and took a nap, exhausted. I stayed on the sofa, wrapped in a blanket, watching a British television show I did not fully understand. It was comforting background noise. At 7, Tyler made a simple dinner. Pasta with pesto and a salad. We ate at the kitchen table. We talked about trivial things, the weather, London, his work. It was normal. It was healing. After helping with the dishes, I retreated to my room. It was spacious, with a large bed and a desk cluttered with Tyler's papers. I got undressed, put on an old pair of pajamas I had packed in a hurry, and got into bed. The sheets smelled clean of fabric softener. Then and only then did I take out my phone. I had kept it on silent all day. I turned it on. The screen lit up, showing an avalanche of notifications. 28 missed calls from Marcus. 15 WhatsApp messages. 5 emails. 2 calls from an unknown number. Gloria. I took a deep breath. I did not open anything. I went straight to settings, blocked his phone number. Then on WhatsApp I blocked him there too. On Instagram I unfollowed and blocked him. On Facebook the same. It was a methodical, cold process, like closing doors one after another. With each click I felt a little more space, a little more air. Then I wrote a single email to my boss, Emily. Subject: Urgent personal leave. Hi Emily. I am sorry to inform you that I need to request an immediate leave of absence for serious personal reasons. I know this is a terrible time, but it is unavoidable. I cannot give details right now. I would appreciate it if you could speak with HR to arrange it. My laptop and work files are at my house. My husband has a key. He can be granted access if strictly necessary. For everything else you have my mobile. My sincerest apologies. I hope to be able to explain better soon. Brooke. I sent it. I turned off the phone, put it in the drawer of the nightstand and turned off the light. In the darkness the tears finally came. Silent, hot, unstoppable. I was not crying for Marcus. I was crying for the woman I had been, the one who put up with it, the one who smiled while she was falling apart inside. I was crying for the end, for the loss, for the fear of what was to come. But among the tears there was no regret. Just a clean, sharp, necessary pain, like cleaning an infected wound. I fell asleep with damp cheeks but with my breathing calm. For the first time in years no one expected anything of me. The next day, while Brooke slept in London, Marcus sat in the darkness of his living room in Chicago. The TV was off. Only the light from his phone illuminated his gaunt face. He had drunk too much. A nearly empty bottle of whiskey was at his feet. He had called all the hotels. He had called Brooke's friends Rachel, Jessica. They had all hung up on him or told him with cold politeness that they knew nothing. He did not believe them. They knew, but they were protecting her. His phone vibrated. It was his mother. The 20th call of the day. He let it ring until it went to voicemail. He could not bear to hear her voice. Not now. A minute later it rang again. This time it was Vanessa. He sighed and answered. What? Marcus, where are you? Mom is hysterical. She says you are not answering. I am at home. Where my wife should be. For God's sake, drop the drama. Have you heard anything? Nothing. She has vanished. She has blocked my number from everywhere. Vanessa was silent for a moment. Do you think she is with her parents? Obviously. But they are not in San Diego. I called their house. No answer. And I called her mother's cell, straight to voicemail. Marcus, this is getting ugly. Ugly? He let out a bitter laugh. Ugly is my wife fleeing the country, Vanessa. Do you know how I feel? Like a monster. Like the bad guy in the movie. And the worst part is maybe I am. Do not be ridiculous. You were just trying to keep the family together. By canceling her flight? By spying on her? Is that keeping the family together? He shouted, and his voice broke. I have lost her. And I deserve it. Leave me alone, Vanessa. Tell Mom I failed. That her son could not control his wife. Let her laugh. Let her criticize me. She is right. He hung up. He threw the phone to the other side of the sofa, covered his face with his hands. The emptiness of the house was absolute. Before, Brooke filled every corner with her presence, with her smell of coconut shampoo, with her muffled laughter watching silly shows, with the sound of her keyboard as she worked. Now there was only silence. A silence that screamed. He staggered to his feet, went to the bedroom. The bed was made impersonally. Brooke's suitcase was gone. Her side of the closet was half empty. She had disappeared, but she had left her absence like a ghost in every room. He went back to the living room, saw Brooke's laptop on the table. He opened it. It asked for a password. He did not know it. She had always had her own space, her own password. He had always complained about it. What secrets are you keeping? He would say, joking. Now he understood they were not secrets, it was privacy. Something he had never truly respected. His own laptop was next to it. He opened it. Without thinking, he opened the browser. He searched for flights Chicago-London December 24th. It was an absurd, desperate idea. Why London? Because it was a big international destination. Because it is where people ran away to. He saw the list of flights. United, British Airways, American. The Times. Then something clicked in his mind. The cousin. Brooke had a cousin in London. Tyler. She had mentioned him once or twice. A weird guy who left years ago. Could be. He searched his email. Tyler, London. He found an old email from 2 years ago, a wedding invitation they did not go to. The signature said Tyler Thompson, London, United Kingdom. It had an email address. It was not proof, but it was a thread. A very thin thread. He looked at the time. 2 in the morning. Too late to do anything. And besides, what would he do? Go to London to look for her? She did not want to be found. She had made that more than clear. He closed the laptop, poured himself the last of the whiskey, and drank it in one gulp. The burning in his throat did not ease the cold he felt inside. His phone vibrated again. A message from his mother. Gloria. I am coming to Chicago first thing tomorrow. Be ready. We need to sort this out. He did not answer. He turned off the phone, lay down on the sofa and stared at the ceiling. The hangover and despair mingled, dragging him into a restless, nightmare-filled sleep. In London, I woke up to daylight filtering through the blinds. It was late 9 in the morning. I had slept for 12 hours straight. I felt groggy but more rested than I had in months. I got dressed in jeans and a sweater. I left the room. The house was quiet. In the kitchen, I found a note from Tyler on the fridge, held by a magnet. Brooke, gone to buy Christmas provisions. You and your parents are sleeping like logs. There is coffee, milk, bread, etc. Make yourself at home. Back at noon. Tea. I smiled. I made coffee. I sat on a kitchen stool, looking out the window at a small backyard covered in frost. It was pretty peaceful. My parents appeared shortly after, also rested. We had breakfast together. We did not talk about anything important. It was nice. Mid-morning, Tyler's landline rang. My mother, who was closer, picked it up. Hello? Oh, hi, Tyler. Yes, she is here. One moment. She looked at me, covering the mouthpiece. It is for you. It is Tyler on his cell. I took the phone. Hi, Ty. Brooke, listen, do not panic. I just got a very strange call. From a Chicago number. My blood ran cold. From who? I do not know. A man with a southern accent asked for you, for Brooke Thompson. Said he was a family friend with an urgent message. What did you tell him? What we agreed. That I did not know anyone by that name, that he must have the wrong number. He hung up quickly. But Brooke, he knew you were here, or at least he suspected. My mind raced. Marcus. It had to be. He had found the lead to Tyler. But how? Through social media? An old email? Thanks, Ty. I am sorry. Do not be sorry. I am just telling you so you are on alert. I will not give out any information, but if he called here, he might try something else. Do you want me to change plans? I can take you all to a hotel. I looked at my parents, who were watching me with concern. No. We are fine here. Just do not answer the landline. And if he calls again, tell him clearly that you will call the police if he does not stop harassing you. Will do. I will be back in an hour. Do not worry. I hung up. I told my parents what was happening. My father became serious. This is harassment. We could report it. To the British police? For a phone call? It would not go anywhere, my mother said pragmatically. But we have to be more careful. Brooke, do not go out alone. And do not use your personal phone for anything. I do not plan on it, I said, but inside a cold anger was beginning to burn. How far was he going to go? Chase me to another country? There is another option, my father said slowly. Confront him. Talk to him one last time. Make things clear. Over the phone with us in the room, so he knows this is not a game, that you are decided, and that if he does not back off, there will be legal consequences. I considered it. The thought of hearing his voice made me nauseous. But maybe my father was right. Maybe a clean, definitive break was necessary. Not a silent blocking, but a clear farewell. I will think about it, I said. But not today. Not today. My mother nodded. Good. Today we do something normal. Tyler said there is a Christmas market nearby. Let us go. We need some air, and you need a distraction. A Christmas market in London sounded like it was on another planet, but I nodded. Okay, let us go. When Tyler returned, the four of us went out. The air was frigid, but the sun was shining weakly. The market was in a square, full of wooden stalls selling ornaments, hot food, mulled wine. The smell of roasted chestnuts and cinnamon hung in the air. People were laughing, shopping. The normality was strangely comforting. I bought a ridiculous wool hat with a pom-pom. I put it on. My mother laughed. We took pictures with Tyler's phone. For a while I was just another tourist. A woman on vacation with her family. As I took a sip of mulled wine, sweet and spicy, I looked around. No one knew me. No one was judging me. No one expected me to be the perfect wife, the submissive daughter-in-law. I was just Brooke, a 32-year-old woman with a silly hat at a market in London, starting from scratch. I smiled, a real smile, feeling the warmth of the drink and of freedom in my chest. I did not know what would happen tomorrow. I did not know if I would talk to Marcus. I did not know if I would file for divorce. But for today, for this afternoon, it was enough to be here, safe, with my pom-pom bobbing in the wind. The call happened the next day, December 24th, Christmas Eve morning. I locked myself in Tyler's room with his British cell phone. My parents were sitting on the bed beside me. My mother held my hand. My father, with a grave expression, nodded when I was ready. I dialed the international number. The ringing tone sounded long and distant. Once, twice, 3 times. On the 4th ring, he answered. Hello. Marcus's voice was rough, hoarse. He sounded like he had not slept. It is me, I said. My voice sounded firmer than I expected. A heavy silence, then a huge sigh. Brooke. God, Brooke. Where are you? That does not matter. I am safe. And I am calling to tell you one thing. Leave me alone. Leave, Brooke, please, we have to talk. I am sorry. I am so sorry. It was a mistake. It was a decision, Marcus. I cut him off. You decided to spy on me. You decided to cancel my flight. You decided to side with your mother one more time. It was not a mistake, it was a choice. And I have made mine. What choice? His voice trembled. What are you saying? That this is over. I am not coming back. I want a divorce. On the other end of the line, I could only hear his ragged breathing, as if he had been punched in the stomach. No. You cannot say that. It is the pressure, the anger. You do not mean it. I mean it and I feel it. I do not love you anymore, Marcus. Or maybe I do, but love is not enough. It is not enough to live like this, in fear, without respect, feeling like the unpaid help of your family. I will change. I will change everything. We will go to therapy, whatever you want. Just do not leave. It is too late. The words came out of me cold as stones. I had rehearsed this conversation in my head all night. I could not waver. And it is not just about changing. It is that I do not trust you anymore. And without trust, there is nothing. Over a silly thing? Over a plane ticket. It is not the ticket. I screamed and my mother squeezed my hand. It is everything. It is years of contempt. Of your mother treating me like a nobody and you looking the other way. Of my wishes never matching. Of feeling invisible in my own marriage. That is not true. It is my truth. And it is the only one that matters. Now I am calling, so you know. Do not look for me. Do not call my friends. Do not call numbers in the UK. If you do, my next call will be to a lawyer to get a restraining order. And to the police for harassment. Are you threatening me? His voice turned cold, hurt. I am informing you. Your actions have consequences. Mine do too. I am accepting mine. The end of our marriage. You accept yours. The loss of your wife. There was another long silence. Then a strange sound like a choked sob. Is there nothing I can do? Nothing I can say. No. Just one thing. When we speak through our lawyers, be civilized. Do not make this harder than it has to be. For the years we spent together. And your things? Your life here. My father will come to pick up my things in a few days with a friend. You will not be there. He will arrange it with the doorman. And as for the apartment, the lawyers will handle it. Sell it to me or we sell it and split the proceeds. I do not want to fight. So it is all decided. Without discussing it with me. You never discussed anything with me, Marcus. You just announced decisions. Now it is your turn to listen to one. I hung up. My hands were shaking violently. The phone slipped from my fingers. My mother wrapped her arms around me. I did not cry. I felt a huge emptiness but also an absolute certainty. There was no going back. You were very brave, honey, my father whispered, his voice hoarse. Very brave. Do you think I was too harsh? I asked, seeking his approval. You were fair, my mother said. You were clear. That is the most compassionate thing you could do for him and for yourself. Now he knows. And he can start to accept it too. Tyler's phone rang. My father picked it up. It was Tyler from the kitchen. Everything okay? His worried voice asked. Yes. It is done. Well then come on down. I have made a special breakfast. It is Christmas Eve even if it does not feel like it. And we are going to celebrate a brave woman who just started to be free. On the other side of the world, Marcus let the phone fall to the floor. He collapsed onto the sofa. The word echoed in his head like a tolling bell. Divorce. She had said it. Out loud. Clearly. It was not a threat in an argument. It was a declared fact. He staggered up, went to the bathroom and looked in the mirror. A pale man with bloodshot eyes stared back. A stranger. The doorbell rang. Again and again insistently. He ignored it. It kept ringing. Finally, he heard his sister's voice on the other side. Marcus, open up. I know you are in there. Mom sent me. With a groan, he went and opened the door. Vanessa came in with a container of food in her hands. She stared at him. My God, Marcus, you look like a ghost. She is gone, he said in a flat voice. Brooke called me. She wants a divorce. Vanessa stood still. She put the food on the table. And what did you say? What was I supposed to say? I said no, but she is not listening. He sank back onto the sofa. She has blocked me. She said if I look for her, she will get a restraining order. She cannot do that. You are married. Well, she will. And she is right. I harassed her. I called her cousin in London. Vanessa turned pale. In London? She is in London. Yes. Or I think so. She did not confirm it, but her cousin lives there, and she hung up on me. It is over, Vanessa. I have lost her forever. For the first time, Vanessa did not have a ready answer. She sat down next to him, saw the empty whiskey bottle, saw the desperation in her brother's eyes. Mom is coming this afternoon, she said softly. For dinner. She expects you to go to Atlanta. I am not going anywhere. Marcus, you have to go. It is Christmas Eve. The family ruined my life, he exploded, jumping to his feet. The family. Always the family. Mom wanted this, Mom wanted that, and I like an idiot obeyed. And look at the result. My wife has left me. It was not just Mom, Marcus. You wanted Brooke to comply too. Because I was convinced it was the right thing to do. That is how things were. But it is not. And I was wrong. Brooke was right. We treated her like unpaid help. I treated her like a child who needed to be controlled. And I lost her. Vanessa looked down. Maybe you could try talking to her again. Calmly. Go to London and what? Kidnap her? She does not want to see me, Vanessa. She is afraid of me. Do you understand that? My own wife is afraid of me. What kind of man am I? He broke down crying. Brutal, heartbreaking sobs that shook his whole body. Vanessa, uncomfortable, put a hand on his shoulder. She did not know what to do. She had never seen her older brother cry like that. I am going to make coffee, she said, and took refuge in the kitchen. Marcus stayed there, crying until he had no tears left. When Vanessa came back with 2 cups, he was sitting on the floor, his back against the sofa, staring into space. Here, she said, handing him a cup. He took a sip. It was strong and bitter. Like everything. What do I do, Vanessa? He asked in a child's voice. Go to Atlanta, she said with a sigh. For today. To make a clean break with everything. Go and tell Mom the truth to her face. And then leave. Leave and start your own life like she is doing. Marcus looked at her surprised. It was the first piece of advice from his sister that did not involve pleasing their mother. And what do I tell her? The truth. That by trying to be a good son you stop being a good husband. And that it is over. Gloria Thompson's house in Atlanta smelled of rosemary, cinnamon, and hot oil. The kitchen was a hive of activity. Gloria, in her floral apron, was frying her famous appetizers. Her sister Evelyn was slicing ham. The cousins were setting the table in the dining room for 20 people. Everything was perfect just like every year. Only one thing was missing. The daughter-in-law. Has Marcus called? Gloria asked for the 10th time to her daughter Vanessa, who had just arrived. Yes, Mom. He will be here later. Later. Dinner is at 9. He should be here helping already. Gloria stirred the stew with vigor. And Brooke does not even bother to call. Such disrespect. Vanessa exchanged a look with her father, who was sitting in a corner reading the newspaper. He shrugged, sinking deeper into the sports page. The afternoon wore on. The uncles, aunts, cousins, and children arrived. The house filled with noise, forced laughter, comments about the weather. Everyone asked about Marcus. Everyone asked about Brooke. A little last-minute problem in Chicago, Gloria would answer with a tense smile. They will be here. But 9 o'clock came and Marcus did not appear. The family, hungry and annoyed, sat down at the table. Gloria served the soup with hands that trembled slightly with rage. It was then that they heard a key in the door. Everyone fell silent. Marcus walked into the dining room. He was disheveled, wearing the same clothes as the day before. He smelled of tobacco and exhaustion. 20 pairs of eyes fixed on him. Finally, Gloria said, her voice as sweet as honey. Sit down, son. Your cousin Brian saved you a seat. Marcus did not move. He looked at the long table filled with familiar faces. He looked at the empty place beside him, where Brooke should have been. He felt nauseous. I am not going to sit down, Mom. A murmur went through the room. Gloria's face was a mask of disbelief. What do you mean you are not? Sit down right now. The soup is getting cold. I came to tell you something, Marcus said, and his voice, though low, was heard in the absolute silence of the room. Brooke is not coming. Not today, not ever. She has asked me for a divorce. A chorus of exclamations erupted. A divorce. But they were a perfect couple. What a scandal. Gloria turned pale. Be quiet, Marcus. Do not say such nonsense in front of the family. Sit down and eat. We will talk later. It is not nonsense. It is the truth. And the reason she is asking for a divorce is you, Mom. And me. Because we never respected her. Because we always treated her like unpaid help. And because I, instead of defending her, sided with you. Gloria's face transformed into a mask of fury. How dare you? I have always treated that girl like a daughter. Lies. Marcus shouted, and the whole table flinched. You always criticized her, always found fault with her. Always burdened her with all the work. And I saw it and said nothing because I was afraid of making you angry. Because I have always been afraid of making you angry. Get out of my house. Gloria shrieked, pointing a trembling finger at the door. How dare you speak to me like that on Christmas Eve? After everything I have done for you. I will, Mom. I am leaving. And I will not come back until you apologize to Brooke. Until you recognize the damage you have done. And you will not. I know it. So this is goodbye. He turned around. His father stood up. Marcus, son, wait. No, Dad. I have waited too long. He looked at his family, at his open-mouthed aunts, at his uncomfortable cousins. Merry Christmas, everyone. And he left. The door closed behind him with a sharp slam. Inside, the silence was total. Then Gloria burst into tears of rage and humiliation. My son blames me. For that ungrateful girl. But no one comforted her. The relatives stared at their plates, uncomfortable. For the first time they had seen the crack. And many deep down knew that Marcus was right. In London, Christmas Eve was different. Tyler cooked a roast his way. There were potatoes, vegetables, and a store-bought Christmas pudding that he set on fire with brandy, much to my parents' amazement. There were not 20 of us, there were 5. Tyler, my parents, me, and a friend of Tyler's named Haley, who was Australian and did not quite understand the drama but brought a simple, contagious joy. We ate at the kitchen table, we laughed, we talked about unimportant things. Tyler put on English Christmas carols in the background. They are weird but nice. After dinner we made a toast. To new beginnings, Tyler said, raising his wine glass. To family, my father said, looking at me. To bravery, my mother said, and her eyes shone. To friendship, Haley said with her sing-song accent. They all looked at me. I took a breath. To freedom, I said, and we clinked our glasses. The sound of the crystal was clean, cheerful, like a little bell. Later I helped Tyler with the dishes. Haley and my parents were in the living room, watching a Christmas special on TV. You okay? Tyler asked me quietly as he dried a plate. Yes, I said. And it was true. It hurts, but I am okay. Like when you have a rotten tooth pulled. It hurts, but you know it is for the best. That is the spirit. He patted my shoulder. And you know you can stay as long as you want. This can be your base of operations for whatever you need. Thanks, Ty. Really. I do not know what I would have done without you. You would have managed on your own. But it is okay to let people help you sometimes. We finished the dishes. I looked out the window. Outside on the quiet street, a few flakes of fine snow were falling, illuminated by the streetlights. It was the first snow of the season. Look, I said. Tyler looked over my shoulder. A white Christmas. They say that brings good luck. I smiled. I did not believe in luck, but I believed in new beginnings. In the snow covering the old, leaving the world clean and quiet, ready to start anew. My phone, turned off and stored in a drawer since my call to Marcus, was not needed. Everything that mattered was in this warm house, with the sound of Haley's laughter coming from the living room and the snowflakes falling gently on London, covering the tracks of the past. On December 26th, Boxing Day, London woke up quiet. The light snow from Christmas Eve had melted, leaving the streets damp and shiny. At Tyler's house, the atmosphere was one of post-Christmas calm. My parents and I were sitting in the kitchen with the day's plan spread out on the table. "First things first," my mother said, with the tone of a general organizing a campaign. "You need a British lawyer to start the process here, and then a Spanish one for things there." "I know someone," Tyler said, pouring himself more coffee. "A friend from college. Ashley. She is a family lawyer. Very good and very understanding. I can ask her to see you this week." I nodded. The word lawyer still sounded foreign to me, but necessary. "Okay, have her call me." And after that, my mother continued, "Your job. Have you thought about looking for something here? Even if it is temporary." I had thought about it a lot. "Yes, but first I need a national insurance number and a place to live. I cannot stay here forever, Ty." "You can stay as long as you need," he repeated for the umpteenth time. "I know, and I appreciate it. But I need my own space. To feel like this is real. That my life is mine again." My father, who had been silent, nodded. "She is right, Patricia. Brooke needs her independence. Just like we need to get back to San Diego soon. I have to work too." "I know," my mother said with a sigh. "But we are not leaving you alone, honey. We will come back whenever you need, and you can come home whenever you want." "I know." I took her hand. "And right now, the first thing is to contact that lawyer." Tyler sent a message to his friend Ashley. "In less than 10 minutes, she replied. She could see us the next day at 11 at her office in Holborn. That afternoon, with a new determination, I opened my laptop and logged into my professional email using Tyler's Wi-Fi. I ignored the inbox full of work messages and colleague inquiries. Instead, I searched for how to get a national insurance number, United Kingdom. I learned the process. Then I searched for graphic design jobs, London freelance. There were portals, Upwork, People Per Hour, even UK-specific sites. I created a basic profile. I uploaded my portfolio. It was a start. While I worked, my personal phone, still off, was in a drawer. I did not need it. The peace of not seeing its notifications was a luxury. As evening fell, Tyler suggested we go for a walk. "You need to see more than these four walls." We walked through the streets of Islington. The Christmas lights were still shining. People were out shopping the sales. Life went on. I was part of it, anonymous and free. "How does it feel?" Tyler asked as we walked. "Like I have left a very small, noisy room and suddenly I am in a huge, quiet field. It is a bit dizzying, but I can breathe." "You can," he said. "And with time you can even run." The next day we showed up at Ashley's office. She was a woman in her 40s with short, graying hair and very intelligent gray eyes. Her office was minimalist, with a view of the street. "Tyler told me a little," she said after the introductions. Her Spanish was understandable, with a distinct accent. "But I need to hear it from you, Brooke. In your words." For an hour I told her everything methodically, without tears. I told her about Marcus, about Gloria, about the flight cancellation, my escape, the call where I asked for a divorce. She took notes on a tablet, nodding occasionally. When I finished, she put down her digital pen. "First, I am very sorry for what you have been through. Second, you did the right thing by coming here and seeking advice." She took a deep breath. "Your situation is complex because it involves two jurisdictions. A marriage in the States, residency in the UK. But since you are physically here, we can initiate separation and divorce proceedings from this country, based on your habitual residence. It is faster. And the assets? We have an apartment in Chicago, half and half. That will be handled in the liquidation of the community property. The usual course is for it to be sold and the proceeds divided, or for one party to buy out the other's share. Given that you have left the marital home, and given your husband's pattern of behavior, we can argue that he should either allow you access to collect your belongings or compensate you for those you leave behind. Do you have anything of great value there?" "Clothes, books, my computer." Some jewelry that belonged to my grandmother. Nothing of enormous value but sentimental. Noted. My recommendation is that, with your permission, we contact a lawyer in Chicago. I work with an excellent firm. They can formally notify your husband of the start of the process and manage the collection of your personal effects, with witnesses to avoid conflict. I felt relieved. She was practical, direct, without drama. And the cost? To start, an initial flat fee. Then, depending on the complexity. But do not worry about that now. The important thing is that you are protected. We left the office with a folder of documents and a to-do list. The first real step. I felt strangely strong. See, my mother said outside the building. It can be done. Step by step. That night after dinner, I turned on my personal phone for the first time in days, just to check for important messages. I ignored Marcus's inbox. There was a message from Rachel, my friend from Chicago. Rachel, hey Brooke. Just wanted to know if you are okay. Marcus came to the office looking for you. I told him I knew nothing. Anything you need, I am here. Take care. I smiled. I replied from my new email account. Brooke, hi Rachel. I am okay. In London with my family, safe. Starting the divorce process. Thanks for covering for me. I miss you. Let us talk soon. The reply came instantly. Rachel, London. Wow. I'm so happy for you. You are so brave. When you come back, if you come back, you have a couch or a room here. Whatever you need. Stay strong. Another friend, Jessica, had sent a similar message. They were both on my side. I was not as alone as I thought. Then I saw a message from an unknown Chicago number. I opened it cautiously. Unknown number. Hi Brooke. It is Vanessa. I know you do not want to talk to Marcus or anyone in the family. I respect that. I just wanted to say I am sorry for everything. And that Marcus is not doing well. He left home on Christmas Eve after a huge fight with my mother. We do not know where he is. If you talk to him, I do not know. Just that. I am sorry. I read it twice. Vanessa apologizing. Marcus missing. A part of me flickered with concern. The other part, the colder part, remembered that he was an adult and that his actions had consequences. I did not reply. I deleted the message. It was not my responsibility. Not anymore. Marcus Thompson was in a cheap hotel near Union Station in Chicago. He had paid for a week. The room was small, dark, and smelled of damp. He had not left for 3 days, except to buy food and alcohol. The world had shrunk to these 4 walls and the screen of his laptop. He had written dozens of emails to Brooke. They all bounced back. His number was blocked. He had called her work. They told him she was on personal leave. They gave no more information. The silence was the worst part. It was a constant judgment with no possibility of defense. His phone vibrated. It was his father. He answered with a hoarse voice. Son, where are you? Your mother is worried. I am not in Atlanta, Dad. That is all you need to know. Marcus, this cannot go on. You have to come home. Talk. Fix things. Fix what? My shattered marriage? My life? There is nothing to fix. Brooke left me, and she was right to. His father sighed on the other end. Your mother does not mean any harm, Marcus. She is from another time. Well, her time has passed. And so has mine. I do not want to talk anymore, Dad. Goodbye. He hung up, turned off the phone. He turned on the laptop, opened his email. There was a new message from an unknown sender. Subject, Thompson v. Thompson legal notification. His heart pounding, he opened it. It was a formal email from a law firm in Chicago, addressed to him, with a copy to a firm in London. His vision blurred as he read the first lines. In accordance with Illinois law, and on behalf of our client Ms. Brooke Thompson, we hereby notify you of the filing of a divorce petition, by mutual consent or, failing that, contested. He kept reading, or rather, the words danced before his eyes. Community property, liquidation, marital home, compensatory pension. It was all cold, dry, final. At the end, it set a deadline of 20 days to respond and requested permission for a representative of Brooke, accompanied by a law enforcement officer if necessary, to access the home to collect her personal effects on an agreed-upon date and time. It was not a threat. It was a legal fact. Brooke had not just said she wanted a divorce. She was making it happen. With lawyers, with papers, with everything. He let his head fall onto the desk. He did not cry. He had no tears left. Only a huge emptiness and the certainty that he had burned the only bridge that mattered. A week later, on January 2nd, my parents returned to San Diego. I went with them to Heathrow Airport. It was a sad farewell, but not a desperate one. "Call us every day," my mother ordered, hugging me tightly. "And come visit as soon as you can," my father added, his eyes moist. "I will. I love you. And we love you, honey. More than anything." I watched them go through security, disappear. I was left alone in the middle of the airport, but I did not feel lonely. I felt capable. Ashley, the lawyer, had made progress. The Chicago firm had contacted Marcus. He had replied through his own lawyer. He had hired one too. Apparently, he agreed to the collection of my things. A date was set, January 15th. My father would go with a locksmith and a police officer if needed. He did not want to see him. Meanwhile, in London, things were moving forward. I had gotten an appointment to apply for a national insurance number, and to my surprise, I had landed my first freelance job. A small logo design project for a London startup. The pay was not much, but it was mine. Earned with my talent, from my new cheap laptop that I bought with Tyler. I also found a room in a shared house in Finsbury Park. It was not much, but it was mine. Or at least my space. I would move in the following week. The day before my father was to go to Chicago to collect my things, I received an email. It was not from the lawyers. It was from Marcus. He sent it from a new account to my personal email. I hesitated for a second before opening it. "Brooke, I do not expect you to reply. I just need to write this. I received the papers. I have read them. I understand this is real, that it is over. I know I am sorry is useless, but I am truly sorry. Not just for the ticket. For everything. For not seeing you, for not listening to you, for letting my mother treat you that way, for thinking I owned you. You were the best thing that ever happened to me, and I destroyed it out of stupidity, pride, and fear. I will not contest the divorce. I will sign whatever is necessary. I want it to be quick so you can get on with your life. The apartment, you can have it if you want, or we can sell it, whatever you prefer. I do not want to fight. Regarding your things, your father can come whenever he wants. I will not be there. I will leave a key with the doorman. I wish you the best, Brooke. Truly. You are incredible and you deserve to be happy. I am sorry I was not the one to give you that happiness. Goodbye, Marcus." I read it once, twice. Tears slipped down my cheeks, but they were not tears of pain. They were tears of release. It was the acknowledgement I had never received. It was the end written clearly. I did not reply. There was nothing to say. But I saved the email as proof that in the end, something of the person I once loved was still there, and as a reminder of why I left. On January 15th, my father went to the apartment in Chicago. Marcus was not there. The doorman gave him the key. He collected my things. Clothes, books, my computer, photos, my grandmother's jewelry. It all fit in the car. There were no problems. Marcus had even left a box with some of my things he had kept, like old postcards and a sweater I liked. It was an act of surrender and of peace. A month later, at the end of February, I was sitting in my new room in Finsbury Park. It was small, with a bed, a desk, and a window that looked out onto a communal garden. I had bought some plants. I had my laptop, I had work projects, I had a national insurance number and a British bank account. The divorce process was ongoing. It was slow, but it was moving forward. Marcus was signing everything without protest. The sale of the apartment was in process. One Saturday afternoon, Tyler and Haley came to visit. They brought Thai food. We ate on the floor on a blanket like a picnic. "So now what, Brooke?" Haley asked with her usual curiosity. "Are you staying in London forever?" I looked out the window. Spring was beginning to show shyly in the buds on the trees. "I do not know," I said, and it was the most hopeful truth. "For now I am staying. I am learning, working, living. Then we will see. Maybe I will go back to the States. Maybe I will try somewhere else. The world is a big place. Well, wherever you go, you know you have a sister here, Haley said, toasting with her beer. And a pain-in-the-neck cousin, Tyler added, smiling. Thanks, you two. That night after they left, I sat in the silence. I took out my phone. I had unblocked Marcus's number weeks ago, in case there was a legal emergency. There had not been. There were no more messages. I opened the camera app, took a selfie. I was smiling. It was not a perfect smile, but it was real. I had lines around my eyes from worry and sleepless nights, but there was also light in them. I posted it on Instagram for the first time in months, no filter. Just me in my room with a plant in the background. The caption was short. New chapter. Page 1. In less than a minute, the likes came in. From Rachel, from Jessica, from old friends, from my mother, my father, Tyler, Haley. From people I barely remembered. A wave of silent support. I turned off the phone and went to bed. The next day I had an interview for a bigger design project, and on Saturday I was meeting some American girls I had met in an expat group. We were going for beers in London. I fell asleep quickly and without nightmares. For the first time in a very, very long time, I woke up with the sunrise, feeling that the day ahead was mine alone. Did you enjoy this story? Leave a comment and hit the subscribe button to support the channel. More tales are on the way.